Nationwide isolation starts Monday. Australia restricts PNG flights. And Sepik governor challenges the people of Sepik.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Wednesday's news. The NCD Governor Sepik said that awareness regarding COVID-19 protocols will be carried out. Wearing of masks will be made mandatory and wardens will be out monitoring to ensure that this is followed.
During a press conference this morning, the NCD Governor Sepik said a team will go out to the communities to carry out awareness about the COVID-19 protocols that will be in place. People will have to mask up, sanitize and isolate to help stop the spread of the disease. After the awareness is made, anyone without masks will not be allowed anywhere.
So by Friday or at the weekend, anybody not having mask cannot be allowed to go to school, cannot be allowed to go to work, cannot be allowed to go to church, or cannot be allowed to go out anyway. We are going to do this so people start wearing masks. There won't be any public meetings. Meetings from 20 below, you all keep social distance.
Governor Sepik is reluctant with the idea of a lockdown and called on everyone to adhere to the set protocols. If the situation worsens, there will be a lockdown, and this will not help with the health and economic crisis that the nation is already facing.
It is already overwhelming the limited health capacity that we have, and the situation is such that we cannot let it go beyond where it is now. It will have a financial implication, it will have an economic and social implication. It has a lot of implication.
The increasing number of cases also includes health workers who are in the front line, with 122 from the Port Moresby General Hospital infected. This has caused other clinics in the city to be shut down.
So when these people are getting sick, we will be overwhelmed. So at this time, we have to be extra careful.
Gertrude Gabin, National EMTV News.
The month of March 2021 is anticipated to be a busy month for PNG, with further risks for high local transmission of COVID-19. As of yesterday, the number of cases confirmed to be positive have surged past the 2,000 mark, coupled with an additional 5 deaths. A large number of cases have been reported from the National Capital District and 19 of the other 21 provinces. Annette Cora reports.
The rise in community transmissions in recent weeks outside healthcare settings have largely been blamed on negligence on the part of citizens and the state's failure in enforcing mandatory safety measures. Transmissions are now occurring within provinces as well as being imported from one province to another.
Strategy we're trying to take.
As of Monday, 16th March 2021, an additional 28 new COVID-19 cases were reported, bringing the country's total of confirmed cases up 2,351 and 26 deaths. The highest number of cases coming from the nation's capital with 51 cases reported, the rest coming from Simbu with 13, Enga with 9, Hela with 2 and Morobe with 6 new cases. Close to 55,000 tests have been conducted so far in the country. However, due to the lack of large-scale population-level testing, means that these exceptions could be misleading and the number of positive cases might be higher than presumed. The uncertain state of PNG's health facilities suggests that the country may already be approaching a limit to possible containment. Testing facilities in NCD are seeing an influx since COVID-19 cases began to surge over 2 weeks ago. The Rita Flynn testing facility and the St. John drive-thru at the Tauranga Aquatic Centre is experiencing even longer queues of people waiting to get tested. While the pandemic controller is urging citizens to take the measures seriously, there is an even greater need for enforcement to mitigate the rising impact of positive cases. Annette Cora. National EMTV News.
Facilities to accommodate COVID-19 are limited with the bed capacity in Rita Flynn at 43. So with the support from the NCD Health Authority, Australian Government and Port Moresby General Hospital, St. John is opening a COVID care facility at the Tarama Aquatic Centre.
The facility has a theoretical capacity of close to 300 beds. We're working with partners including WHO, MSF and others to evaluate if we can upgrade this facility if needed to up to around 300 beds that can manage higher acuity patients with the medical oversight coming from the medical management coming from the NCD Health Authority. We're looking at making sure the facility takes care of the patient's holistic needs while they're in isolation. So not just their medical care, but also psychosocial support, making sure that there's counsellors available to give that support, making sure that there's social workers, making sure that people make a recovery and get the support they need. So things like credits and fruits and vegetables, making sure they're available to people as well.
Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison announced this morning that chartered flights into Port Moresby will be restricted following the increased number of positive cases from PNG passengers in quarantine. Morrison also announced the support of 1 million AstraZeneca vaccine and at the earliest the supply of 8,000 AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines from Australia's stock. The 8,000 earmarked for vaccination of the country's essential health workforce with an initial rollout for the National Capital District and personal protective equipment.
At midnight tonight, we will further reduce the risk of COVID-19 transmission from PNG to Australia by suspending passenger flights from Papua New Guinea into Cairns. We will do that for a fortnight and reassess the situation over the next fortnight. Freight, though, I stress, will continue and be supported to ensure that necessary supplies are able to get from Cairns to Papua New Guinea. We'll be suspending all charter flights from Papua New Guinea to Australia with limited exemptions for Medivac and other critical flights. We will be reducing the passenger caps by 1/4 from flights from Port Moresby to Brisbane effective at midnight tonight. We will be suspending all outbound travel exemptions by Australians to Papua New Guinea except for essential and critical workers, including humanitarian and Medivac-related activity. This will include no general FIFO workers. You FI or you FO. If you're there, you stay. If you're here, you stay. We cannot risk more people going into those areas and then coming back to Australia. Port of the PNG government, we are also making a formal request to AstraZeneca and the European authorities to access 1 million doses of our contracted supplies of AstraZeneca, not for Australia, but for PNG, a developing country in desperate need of these vaccines. We've contracted them, we've paid for them, and we want to see those vaccines come here so we can support our nearest neighbour PNG deal with their urgent needs in our region.
Meanwhile, this is what Health Minister Jelta Wong had to say about the announcement by the Australian Prime Minister regarding the restriction of flights.
We expect that from the Australian government to do that to safeguard their borders. So with the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister should be talking within a couple of weeks, we'll see how it goes and we'll see if we can rectify a solution rather than just the lockdown.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. National Command Centre Controller David Manning announced this afternoon that the nationwide isolation strategy will come into effect by Monday. The strategy will go on for 4 weeks and school holidays have been brought forward to Monday. Meanwhile, specific measures will be released tomorrow.
Within the 4 weeks, specific, aggressive interventions going into how best we can arrest the COVID-19 surges, not only in the city, but around those provinces that are currently experiencing surges in COVID-19 cases. Elsewhere in the country, it's proven to be of great assistance managing the COVID, especially community transmission, and we'll be encouraging everyone to take care of that. Business houses, essential services have been put on notice that anyone failing to wear a mask will be refused entry. It is mandatory.
Lane's Engau Provincial Hospital is partially closed for an indefinite period with a scale down of all services as of last Friday after 4 staff from the emergency department were confirmed positive for COVID-19. The indefinite closure would allow the hospital to clear the contaminated facilities for reuse and for the staff to be cleared to resume duties. Meanwhile, Engau Hospital medical staff have raised concerns on the lack of leadership from the management of Morobe Provincial Health Authority, the provincial administration and Engau Hospital to make sure they're protected from COVID-19. A doctor with the East Sepik Provincial Health Authority paid tribute to the Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare for dreaming of a country with professionals. Dr. Grace Rara said it was through this dream that birthed independence and along with it a crop of professionals. Dr. Rara and other health workers volunteered their services for visiting groups in Wewak as a way to honor the late Grand Chief.
Dr. Grace Rara is an obstetrician and gynecologist with the East Sepik Provincial Health Authority. For the past week, she and other health workers volunteered to provide medical assistance for visitors who were in Wewak to attend the late Grand Chief's funeral.
We are doing a voluntary work to help a Morobe team and also provide service for East Sepik Provincial Government as a voluntary work to support this work for the late Grand Chief.
Dr. Rara said it was their way of helping during this time in their capacity as doctors in honor of the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare. She paid tribute to the Grand Chief for dreaming of the professionals that Papua New Guinea now has.
So it is a privilege to be working now like this, to be a doctor and to be a specialist. And you know, it's all because of the great man himself, because of his ambition, the vision that there will be doctors like me standing and talking today. So it's a privilege to be able to provide something during this funeral.
Not only did the Grand Chief's funeral bring together people from different provinces around the country, it also brought together Papua New Guinean professionals that Sir Michael Somare once dreamed of. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Wewak.
East Sepik Governor Alan Bird has challenged the people of East Sepik and West Sepik to change their attitude and focus on development. He says with the Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare being laid in East Sepik, it is time leaders from both provinces must change their attitudes. He was speaking while the casket of Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare was lying in state at the East Sepik Provincial Assembly.
East Sepik Governor Alan Bird was speaking to leaders from East and West Sepik provinces. He says with the Grand Chief now lying with them in the province, it is time they change their attitude, adding that the Grand Chief has done so much for the country.
Ami tok lukau tim country blow me, something me hard work na come up him. Na you me make him one him. Buni come back lo me play no come nothing. Ami come one time big pla talk. I'm carrying big responsibility in Emikam.
This is the first time the East and West Sepik provinces have united at the East Sepik Provincial Assembly after over 40 years. The last time the two provinces were together was in the 1970s before the then Sepik district was separated into two provinces, and the death of the Grand Chief has united the two provinces again. The governor says it is time the two provinces put their differences aside and work together.
You need lo holimhan. When I'm can heavy and come up, Namelo Yumi, whether Yumi old member or lol people blow Yumi yet, they got some bell heavy stop. I think now Papa me sleep Namelo Mipla. Maybe I must look sabe and I started the Molgara display in a Yumi must hold him hand again.
The governor also challenged the people and public servants in the two provinces to work hard. He says with the Grand Chief's passing, he is challenging his people not to be dependent.
Em kotia em karim buni kamya. Lokotim yumi ol firstborn pigini blangem. Yumi ol lain sak happy nem blangem na tokem papa stop somare stop na yumi stop. Na biya na nini yumi hai tigo na pulim na still on bla up kai stop la upside. Sem blo yumi. Straight team yumi yet now yumi all got a leader. You uside you sit on inside lo display assembly.
Rayon Lakingu National, MTV News.
And now looking at the NASFund market report, the Kina opened unchanged at 0.2850 US dollars in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina will buy 0.2775 US dollars, 0.3534 Australian dollars, 0.3817 New Zealand dollars, and 29.62 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee closed higher, cocoa and copra closed lower. Palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading lower, and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading lower.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The Queensland Intra Super Cup season kicks off this Saturday. The PNG Hunters have named their final team to take on Wynnum Manly Seagulls. Hunters lock Ila Alu has been named captain, with Kevin Apo as the vice-captain.
The PNG Hunters will take on the Wynnum Manly Seagulls in their round 1 fixture for the 2021 season of the Intra Super Cup. The Hunters have named Ila Alu as captain and Kevin Apo as the vice-captain. The team also named 5 debutants for the round 1 fixture. The 5 debutants are Jokedi Bire, Samuel Yagip, Edwin Ipape, Sylvester Namo, and Benji Cott. The extended bench comprises of Jeffrey Robert, Judah Rimbu, Solowane, and Norman Brown. The team's lineup is as follows: Terry Wapi at fullback, Junior Rao on the left wing, Brendan Nima and Jokedi Bire in the centers, Brendan Gotuno on the right wing, Watson Boas at 5'8", Charlie Simon at halfback, Enoch Maki and Samuel Yagip are the starting props, Warto Wapora Jr. at hooker, Apple Capiniers and Kevin Apo are the 2 second rows, and Ila Alu the captain at lock. On the bench will be Edwin Ipape, Sylvester Namo, Emmanuel Waine and Benji Cott. With the extended bench, Jeffrey Robert, Judah Rimbu, Solowane and Norman Brown. The coach, of course, Matthew Church. This is the home game for the PNG Hunters at Bycroft Oval in Runaway Bay on the Gold Coast. The team will wear black armbands and observe a minute silence to pay their respects to the late great-grand chief Sir Michael Somare before kick-off at 2:40 p.m. on Saturday. Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
With the Women's Football World Cup in 2023 co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand, Papua New Guinea will be heading into the qualifying stages to make it into the World Cup. President of Papua New Guinea Football Association, John Capinato, says PNGFA will ensure fair selection into the national women's team.
I've also conveyed to the Secretary of Office and the selectors that there's no room for bias. There's no room for picking people that you know of. You must pick people that really showed on the day on the field to represent the country PNG. That time is gone. We've created a competition. We've created a platform so that all our young girls who are aspiring to become a better player, this is where we've set out for them in these competitions. So the selectors who are there, the PNGFA will select the coaches and all that, and they need to pick good players. This competition has run very, very well, and we've seen those many talents that are coming, and I'm sure they're going to do well in the upcoming next NSL commencing at the end of the year. Starting last year, we've seen the teams played in the Northern Conference and the Southern Conference, and for me, I think I was very, very impressed. Very, very impressed, not only in the current national women's players that are playing, but seeing a lot of the talents, both in the Northern Conference and the Southern Conference. There are a lot of talents that I'm sure when we have our coaching selections and all that, I think they're in for a very tough time to really pick a very good team that we must prepare for 2023.
And that story wraps up True Kai Sports. The weather forecast after the break.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Patchy rain showers and possible thunderstorms, then morning inland fog in Port Moresby. Cloudy with overnight rain showers and drizzles in Daru. Overnight rain showers and drizzles, then possible thunderstorms in Kirima. Partly cloudy tonight with morning brief showers in Alatau. And partly cloudy tonight with morning rain drizzles in Popondita. In the Mamasa region, a few showers, then cloudy morning in Lee. Partly cloudy tonight with morning rain drizzles in Medang. Mostly cloudy tonight with morning drizzles in Wewak, and a few rain drizzles tonight, then a cloudy morning in Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, brief showers tonight, then fine partly cloudy morning in Lorengau. Mostly cloudy tonight apart from a few morning showers in Kavieng. Mostly cloudy with some rain showers in Kokopo and Rabaul. A few showers tonight, then fine morning in Kimbe, and mostly fine apart from brief showers in Buka. And in the Highlands region, rain showers and drizzles tonight, then morning fog in Mount Hagen. Rain drizzles tonight, then morning fog in Goroka, Kondiawa, Mendi and Wabeg. Forecast for small crops for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait to Daru and Kiwai Islands to Kerma, to Yule Island and to Hood Point, to Samarai Islands, and with waters of Samarai Island to Cape Vogel and eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters north of Cape Vogel to Huon Gulf to Finschhafen, including waters north of Long Island to Medang and Wewak to Aitape and Vanimo, including northern PNG Indonesian border, with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and with waters of New Ireland to New Britain and Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1 meter. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitiaz and Dampier Strait to Siasi and Long Islands, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. A look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. In the Coral Sea, seas slight with northwest to northeasterly winds of 10 to 15 knots. In the Solomon Sea, seas slight with northeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas smooth with northeast to northeast to northwest to northeast winds of 5 to 10 knots, and seas smooth with northeasterly winds of 5 to 15 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for today, Wednesday the 17th of March 2021. From all of us here at EMTV, thank you for joining us. Pleasant viewing. Good night.